need to make a soundtrack, and just have, and that's like one of the songs. Like we'll have a soundtrack for the shows.
Did you ever? So I used to buy like my dad. I used to be big into like CDs as a kid, and my dad would get me like all the different soundtracks to movies. So
Oh
they
yeah,
used to
yeah,
make a
yep.
bunch of. So for those that haven't seen it, the Training Day soundtrack is
Ah.
probably one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. They
Oh
crushed it.
really? All
Oh yeah,
right.
it was crazy.
I need to check it out. I need to check it out.
100%. Y'all, we are action packed today. This is all data driven. This is just us talking about the industry, where it's headed next, what we are seeing, and then talking a lot about just the coaching side of things. And our people, there's a lot of people struggling right now. There's a lot of people kind of in the middle that are on the cusp of either sticking around or leaving. And then I'm going to go pretty deep into this analysis I did on Rocket Mortgage. But Fraser, I'll kind of pass it your way, give a little context here before we dive into this.
Yeah, no, and I think it's important, and we'll get into a lot of that. But one of the overarching messages that I'm doing with all the brokers that I'm working with is that like you can't pick and choose to like be visible and not, meaning like you got to be visible, of course, right? But you can't just be like, oh, I'm gung-ho for it for 5 days and then you disappear for 2 weeks, because you got to understand what you're up against. You got to understand that you're up against machines that don't sleep, 24/7 content, right? 24/7 sponsorships in your face, right? So that's visibility, right? And so the more visible something becomes, the more trusted it becomes. Yet I see very, very few people, right? I see very few people actually taking that to heart. They're thinking, well, I don't need to do this. I need to do that. And my friends, too many of you are trying to build a mortgage business in an industry that doesn't exist anymore. You all are trying to do internet marketing in an internet that doesn't exist anymore. And so that's the point that I'm trying to get across to people. And when you look at, we talked about Rocket, when you look at that, guys, look, do you think Rocket spends all that money on all the thing? And John's going to get into it, so you guys are going to see exactly what I'm talking about. But do you think they spend all that money for fun? Right? Do you think they just do it because they're like, hey, well, why not? Like, we got money to spend, so we'll just spend it on this stuff. No, they do it, and they do it very well, and they do it relentlessly, because that is what brings in the revenue. There is no days off, right? So if you are trying to build a business that's going to compete for the new era of consumerism in the new AI economy, and you're using the old strategies and the old tactics, right? Like, that is going to have diminishing returns year after year after year. And we all know that, because this is, and I said this last week, right? If all the strategies, everything that you guys die on the hill for, that is this and that or whatever, if all of those were the end all be all, how come there are so many people struggling right now? And guys, I work with a lot of them. At AIME, we do this call every Thursday for what I call like the middle class, the people that have been left behind and forgotten by everybody, right? Because they are struggling. And these aren't people that are lazy. These aren't people that don't want to work. They just don't really know what to do. And since we started this call, we have people that had no loans to having loans, right? Simply by giving them the strategies and tactics, and not the fluff and the overview and the crap that's just more of like higher level stuff, but getting into it. But all of that is in service to making sure that they stay relevant in this new era of consumer intention. And so you guys have to understand what you're competing against. And I think once you see what Jonathon gives you, I don't think there's going to be really any debate about how important that is.
So, y'all, I've been holding on to this for a really long time. I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting. So let me start here. I worked there for a really long time at a very high level. And if you didn't work there, I'm going to be very upfront with you. I take zero interest in your opinion on what I'm about to say, because you have no idea. And by the way, this isn't a knock. This is business, and I understand business, but I want this community to understand there are trained killers on the other side of the phones. That's me. Okay. People like me. And when I got into that space, I was 21 years old, broke as can be, trying to take care of like things at the house, help out my family, whatever it might be. There's a lot of those people that work there now. Let's just be crystal clear about it. There's people there now. That hasn't changed. So here's what I want you to understand. The job there was to make the phone rings, and then our job was to convert it regardless of how the phone rang. We did a NASCAR sweepstake when I worked at Rocket years ago, literally just for NASCAR. And people would call in because they thought they won something with the car. That's what they thought. They didn't win anything. It was just us getting them to call at the time, and then it was our job to convert. We converted enough to make it profitable because people were on us all day long. So our community, I get it. There are people inside the broker space that use Rocket TPO. This isn't about that. I don't care. I'm here to teach you what happens. And this is what you're dealing with. So when you send business there, understand that you're teaching them how to sell against you. You're teaching them what consumers like. And that's why their margins for brokers were unbelievably low. They can buy the market because they make a lot on retail. So here's what I did, y'all. I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to show you how this works. This is how this works. So I clicked on one ad, one. Over 48 hours, I received over 30 different ads. So what you're looking at here, this is, she's big on TikTok apparently. And by the way, please do not take anything out of these their job is to do this. So I have no issues with it. I would love to do something like this myself. This is Rocket specific. They're brilliant. They know the rest of the world is doing the same thing. So I got one ad with one person. She's a famous TikToker, and it was 3 separate ads. The first one is for HELOCs. And you can see they have these little links. If you look, when are you looking to do it? 2 weeks, next month, 1 to 3 months. There's a reason for that, y'all. Why do you put 4 separate links? The next one says, when millions of homeowners trust Rocket Mortgage to service their mortgage, you know you're in good hands. And then the third one, same person, see how you can access your cash. So the first one is a HELOC. The second talks about how great they're servicing it. And then the third one is pitching cash out. Let me tell you, when I was there, the job was to, even if they came in for a HELOC, pitch cash out. That was the job, was to pitch cash out. So for brokers out there that say, I'm so good at staying in front of my past clients, you're not this good. I'm not this good. Nobody is this good on a machine that doesn't ever have to sleep. And so I clicked on one link. So you think that your consumers that closed a loan with you click on this link and you think they're thinking about you when they see these links? That doesn't include me being at the gym and watching them on TV. That doesn't include me going to the gas station and seeing them on the TV. That doesn't include me driving down the highway and seeing their advertisements. But we're sitting here constantly sending business. I see it happening. Our community talks about it all the time. And can you keep up with this? Can you pay a TikTok star? Can you? John, I do such a good job staying in front of my past clients. Y'all, you're not going to be in this space as long as they're going to be in this space. At some point or another, you're going to drop off. There are so many people exiting the industry as we speak right now. You think you're maintaining those past clients of brokers that left the industry? You think they're going to you? So we keep feeding them and you're teaching them how to do it. Now let's go to the next one. This doesn't stop. These are ads I received because I clicked on a button. Don't lose sleep over high interest credit card debt. Y'all, anybody here ever have high interest credit card debt? It's stressful.
Yeah.
You think if I see 15 ads in a row on high credit card debt, you don't think I'm going to click one? And look at all the different links. They are understanding the data sets. And what they do is you allocate these leads accordingly to the loan officers that convert them the best. So now every time they click on a link, they know who to send it to. How do I know that? Well, that's what I did. It's one of the top converters. And so I started getting all these great opportunities, great qualified clients, and I was writing 40, 50 loans a month. So can you keep up with this? And am I knocking them? No. This is business. They're here to run a business. They're here to make money, just like we are. I'm simply saying, don't just stop saying to me that you do a great job staying in front of your clients and you're not worried. You have to stop saying it because it's not true. And Holden, we love you. If Rocket can hire Lady Gaga to an ad campaign, what can I do? Well, Holden, I saw your video of you doing the karaoke and dancing. So realistically, I'd rather pay you, my friend. We appreciate you. Got some talent. So now I'm going to give you real data here. This is from HMDA directly. We use Polygon Research here at AIME. Shout out to Polygon. They are incredible. So the data that I am showing you is all in. This is non-Del, broker, correspondent, retail. This is all the data. This is all the cash outs that occurred in 2025. Are you ready? Rocket Mortgage. There was 952,000 cash out refinances that occurred, 953,000. Rocket Mortgage did 201,000 of those, maintaining 21%. And if you separate the TPO that they have from their retail, it was about 19% retail, and I think they had about a little over 2% of wholesale. Number two is UWM, which is up to 7.68%. But even at 7.68%, Rocket has 21% of the market share. So they did over 200,000 cash out refinances. Are you telling me all of those were supposed to be cash out refinances? Are you saying you're that good? Are you saying that there's clients in there that didn't go from a 4 to an 8%? Some of you might be thinking, well, that's you can't sell that. That's so hard. No, it's not. I did it for years. No, it's not. I know the conversation. When a client would say something to me like, but John, I have a 4% interest rate, you know what I would reply with, Fraser? I'd say, hey, I completely hear you. Rest assured, I'm not going to put you in a higher rate if it doesn't make sense. But let me ask you a question. Every single month when you make your payments, do you think it's more beneficial for you to pay the least amount of interest across all your debt? Or do you think it makes more sense to just focus on your mortgage, even though you're drowning in credit card debt? You don't think I'm prepared to have that conversation? Are y'all nuts? And if we didn't do it, there was accountability, a lot of it. And by the way, it was good to be on the phones all day. I wish we had more of that in our space. That's something I keep trying to bring to our community, is more accountability. So this is what you're dealing with. Can you keep up with this? So here, I'm going to give you guys something. Put this together. Shout out to Polygon. Rocket Retail alone produced 91 originations for every 100 produced by the combined broker and non-delegated channel. So I combined broker and non-del in this one here because we have a lot in our community that are non-delegated now. And you can see right here, and then I separated it to just Rocket Retail. So you can see of those 202,000, 182,000 came from Rocket Retail directly. The other was the TPO channel. Total cash out refinances is 953,000. So the entire non-delegated and mortgage broker channel, just understand this, the entire non-delegated and mortgage broker channel did only 17,551 more loans combined than Rocket Retail. And if you combine Rocket Retail and Rocket TPO, they did more than the entire broker channel altogether. So one retail lender literally matched the entire broker channel. And we think, some people think, not all, I know a lot of you understand this concept, so please understand. It's for those that don't understand it, or maybe they don't get it. But we think to ourselves that we can keep up. It's not a big deal. And y'all, here's my question to you. Are you going to look me dead in the eye and say not a single one of those cash out refinances came from a broker that wrote the original purchase? Are you really going to look me in my eye and say that to me? You'd be lying. Some might say, John, but that doesn't happen. Y'all, listen, let me tell you something. It actually bothers me when people say I can beat Rocket every day of the week, or I never lose to them. You know why it bothers me? Because I was there and I'm a competitive person. When I used to be there and I would hear I'm working with a broker, I wanted to win so bad. So what you're asking me to believe is that culture has changed. You're asking me to believe that these people now are, when they hear the word broker, they say, oh, sorry about that. You should call them back. Y'all, when I was there, and I don't know how they pay now, we were paid on conditional approval. And if I had a goal to hit, if it's the last day of the month and I'm one loan away from tier, and that tier is a $20,000 opportunity, and it's the last day of the month and I have to write it that day, and the client says I'm working with the broker, you think I was, oh, okay. Yo, these people have to make money too. I'm not knocking them for making money. I'm not knocking them. You need to make money. I still have family there. But what you're not going to do, what I refuse to allow you to tell me is that no, I do a better job. No, I never lose a client to them. The data tells me otherwise. Fraser, how'd I do on that?
You did great. And so I was writing some stuff down, and here's what I'll tell you: you guys, every single one of you lose to Rocket every single day, right? And now you might be saying, "No, I don't. I'll get their LE and I beat it." That's when that actually happens, right? Now you may not lose the Rocket when you're head to head and you're competing for a client that is actually conversing with both you and them. But how many people go to Rocket and then they don't go anywhere else? They're not going to go, "Hey, you know what, Jonathan? I decided to go to Rocket. I didn't even just, contact you because I figured, Rocket was the best." No one makes that. No consumer tells other brokers that, like, "Hey, we didn't even consider you," right? That doesn't even enter their mind. So if you're going to say that you never lose, it's wrong. And John just showed you the data, right? And so you got to get that out of your head. But now, ultimately, you may win when you compete head to head when you're in the game, but you have to be in the game to do that. And the second thing is when Jonathan was showing all those ads. One thing that absolutely kills me with loan officers when they're trying to run ads and whatnot is like, I need to see this. I need to know what's going out. I need to see the messaging, right? You know how many of my call center loan officers saw the marketing and the ads that I did? Zero, right? Because it doesn't matter. My job was to make the phone ring for them to convert, right? And so the scripts we had was like, would they be like, "Oh, I saw number one. Hey, I saw your ad. Oh, really? Hey, tell me what spoke to you about the ad because I want to make sure that I focus on that." They don't need to know what ad it said this, it said that. And when I was doing that with traditional loan officers, I need to see what it says because how do I know what to talk about? I don't know. It's called sales, right? Like if they could do it, how come you can't do it, right? So don't overcomplicate. Don't talk yourself out of success knowing that you need to see exactly what they saw, what they clicked on to make the phone ring. When the phone rings, that's when the switch goes on, you sing your song and you close. Jonathan, am I wrong in that? Am I wrong?
You are, Jason. We would literally, I would get yelled at when I first started because they were like, "You're getting opportunity. It's opportunity. You must take And they weren't, by the way, y'all, they weren't wrong. It really
Yep.
was opportunity.
Yep.
But I had to change my mindset around it, and I did. And when I changed my mindset, instead of saying, "Oh, great," when the bad leads would come in, I would say, "I cannot wait to write one." And that's one thing. Like I am grateful for that. I'm going to
Yep.
be upfront with you because like when the market goes up for me, I don't care. I started in 2013, so that was after Harp and the stream. Like there were still some stragglers, but when I entered, rates started to go up at the time, which it was like 4.5. So we'll take it. We would take it at now, but there was a lot of people that left the space because it wasn't 2.5s anymore or that 3%, and a lot of Harps were going away. But y'all, when I entered it, that's the mindset I was taught. We didn't care about the rate. It didn't matter that the client had a 4%. If there was debt, then we sell. And to his point, the NASCAR leads I was just talking about that we used to get, the sweepstakes NASCAR leads. When I tell you most of these were not good credit and homes we couldn't finance, that was the reality. But guess what? It was profitable because we found opportunity when you change your mindset. And we
Yep.
didn't care what lead. I didn't care where you came from. Hey, why am I getting your ads? Oh, I'm so sorry. We have $1 billion marketing budget. Sometimes we overdo it. Well, fill me in. What are you looking to do? I am one of the best pivoters. I'm telling you right now, it is really hard to deal with me on the phone because one, I know too much about what I'm talking about, but two, I know there's only so many things a client can think about when it comes to financing. And if you know that much more than somebody on something, if you get really good at it, you're able to pivot away and navigate the conversation. And some of you might not like that, but that's what I was taught. That is just what I was taught. And that's what's
Yep.
still being taught. And you're not going to convince me otherwise. So if you didn't work there, I don't care to hear from you. I really don't. There's some people that defend them that never worked there before. And by the way, we don't care. It's business is business. I'm simply trying to teach you that this is what you are competing against. And if you are sending them business, understand that this is what you're feeding. They are using that data to understand and learn. And that is what they're going to continue to do. And y'all, what I gave you is facts and it's data driven. So this isn't me making stuff up. We're talking about big picture items here on here. So
Yep.
my challenge to all of you is this. You don't need to believe me. Go on Facebook, just type in Rocket Mortgage, click on one of their ads and just start filling one thing out. Just click it one time You don't even have to hit enter. And then you tell me how many ads you get in the next 48 hours. That's my challenge.
Yep.
That's my challenge. If you're courageous enough to do it, go for it. Give it a shot, and you tell me if you can keep up.
100%.
Thanks for letting me have that one. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Listen, one of the other big ones right now too, Fraser, you and I have been talking about this a lot, especially with, I feel like we've just been coaching like crazy as of late with
Yep.
mortgage mornings.
Mhm.
We have the Ascents, we have the still
Yep.
standing calls, Accelerate. There's
Yep.
so much content we're pumping out. I think one of the big things right now that I'm noticing is a lot of leaders kind of screaming from the mountaintops, but not including their loan officers as part of that screaming. And I believe their loan officers are being affected. There's a lot of leaders right now that I actually don't think know how to handle this market. And so what they do is just start to yell. Your people need you right now more
Yep.
than ever before. If you're not trying to be in the trenches, and by the way, you don't have to be great at it. Just try. Like, even if you're like, John, I've never done it before, I'm nervous. We're not like, there's certain people that aren't even trying as a leader, and you're watching their LOs or their people suffer because of it. And instead, they're going on Facebook or LinkedIn and talking about
Yep.
things that don't matter. This economy is so bad, this and that. Y'all, it's not, we get it. The market is the market. The market is the market. But if you're one of these leaders right now, stepping back and screaming from your ivory towers and your mountaintops, I think we're in for a rude awakening. Fraser, you do a lot of these, like the still standing calls, and you're working with a lot of people in I know we call them like the middle class part of it,
Yep.
where it's like they're left behind and
Yep.
no one's kind of looking for them. And you have the low producers and people like, oh no. And then you have the top producers, oh, we'll leave them alone. And then
Yep.
it's everybody in the middle that I'm worried about, because I
Yep.
don't want these brokers to leave the space. There's a lot of
Yep.
brokers, a lot of loan officers, not just brokers right now, that are 1 month away from just leaving and exiting.
Yep.
We don't want that. We want you here. I know you have a few big picture items on this, especially with the coaching that you've been doing and the amount of success. I've had multiple LOs reach out about what you've been doing and how much guidance you're giving them, but you're not even guidance. You're giving them two things. They tell me, okay? Two things: hope and accountability. So can you speak on that?
Yeah, and you said it perfectly. You know, I refer to it as middle class because these aren't like, I mean, yeah, you could, look, and I'm just as guilty as a former owner and a leader, and we call them the onesie twosies, right? That's like that's the nomenclature that we use. And I get it. You get jaded. You're like, well, they don't want to work. They don't want to do this. And there's certain elements of that with some people. Sure. Absolutely. Right. But what the problem is, you have your 80/20, right? And so what do we do as leaders? What do we do as owners? We focus everything we can on the 20, right? Because they account for 80% of the production, right? What I want to focus on is the 80%, right? I want to focus on, and we're more of, let's call it the 50%, right? Because we could say 30% are just kind of coasting and maybe we'll never do anything more than what they're doing. But there's a lot of people that came, like the still standing call grows every week because these are people, and some of them would surprise you that they need this, but they do. That's why when Jonathan said a lot of people are suffering or not doing so well right now, this is part of it. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, increasing their production, if you can focus on the middle class, right? You don't have to worry so much about recruiting because that's really where a lot of your attention goes. That's where your videos go. And it gets noticed by these people that truly love your company, right? They love the lender they work with. They love the brokerage they work with. But they feel your focus is on, building a brand on social media, right? Which isn't going to help with consumer driven stuff. It's going to help with recruiting, which is great. You want to grow, but they would rather you spend an hour of that time helping them, especially when they are willing to do the work. And I gave that example of someone that had nothing in 90 days and 3 loans within 10 days, simply off the base of the stuff that we talk about. And do you think that changed her world for her? It absolutely did.
Yes,
Now
it did.
she's got hope. Now she's excited. Now she's that. And guess what? Hey, to the owner of that company, you're welcome, right? Because now you got 3 loans and now you got a happier loan officer. But no one spent the time with her. No one reached out to her, right? She was low. She didn't get access, right? And instead, these people, they don't want to see top producer panels, right? They get it. These are top producers. Because guess what? They don't want to be top producers, right? They want to be just consistent with what they do that makes them happy. They're not trying to do 10, 15, 20 units. right? They want to be like, hey, I want to do 5 units. I want to do 3 units consistently, maybe 4, 5, because that pays the bills, it pays for vacation, and puts savings away, right? It makes me happy. And at the end of the day, my friends, what would happen to your companies if just 50% that isn't part of the top 20% did 1 to 2 extra loans per month? What would that do? What would that do to your projections? Right? What would that do to your company culture? And so what I'm saying is I see a lot of leaders out there. And again, I'm not judging here. I'm just saying if you're going to do that, for every minute and ounce that you spend on profiling yourself or your company, spend that exact same time in the trenches with your originators, not the top, but the middle, and help them. Right? And what was great when I started Still Standing is the people that reached out that wanted to be a part of it to help, right? That actually said, hey, I'll give an hour of my time to help these people and talk to them about what makes me successful. Great people, right? And that's what I love about our community, because you just don't see it that much. But right now, everyone wants to talk about how awesome they are, this and that, and, rough it. Guys, look, everyone's got it rough. It's all hard. It's all pain, right? So as a leader, do what you can to focus on those that actually will receive the help and do something with it. I know it's not easy. And guys, I am as guilty as a former, owner and leader as well, right? I know what it's like. I know how jaded you get. I know that I give them all this stuff and da, 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 da. It can't be top down, right? It has to be in the trenches. It has to be in the middle. They're willing to meet you there. I promise you, I don't have all these people joining these calls just for fun, right? It's because they're at their breaking point, whether they're going to continue or not. And the last thing we need is attrition, right? We need to lift these people up. If we want to grow market share of the channel, we need to do it by growing market share of the channel. So that's my message for today.
No, Fraser, I love it. And I usually we have questions, but we really wanted to drive this one home this week. So I don't have anything big picture, anything from a content standpoint for like the question side, but I do want to read this quote.
Real quick before you get into it, is just because I want to get this pitch. Guys, the Accelerate that we are doing at Fuse is going to be in service of those people, right? So we have a full hour that we're going to be doing that. So if you don't have your tickets to Fuse, come to Fuse just for that, right? Now, don't get me wrong, we have great speakers, so enough. Each one of our speakers is enough value for what you're doing. But my friends, come for that. Right? If you feel that you're getting left behind, if you feel you don't have an answer, come and experience live. I promise you'll be better for it. Sorry, I just wanted to shameless plug for Fuse.
Thank you. And also Fuse, we are on pace to sell out. We are really close. If you have not gotten your ticket, please get it, because once we're sold out, we are sold out. We do have a capacity that we can do in Austin. And first of all, thank you all. Fraser and I are having a blast with our AI imagery. It's a fun competition. Him and I started last year, and it's turning into something fun, and the community loves it. So if you have other ideas in terms of what you want from an AI, something you think is funny, send us a message. We would love to go down the path. I did a Austin Powers-esque one yesterday with Mini-Me, and then Fraser had a Dumb and Dumber one go out today that's absolutely hysterical. But I'm going to leave you all with this quote that I absolutely love. To be happy, you must eliminate 2 things: the fear of a bad future and the memory of a bad past. Take care, y'all. Have a good one until next time.